of course, if you do want to sound any alarms, the big alarm to sound right now is Justin Steele. So obviously, as you all know, in his opening day game, Justin Steele was pitching pretty good against the defending World Series champions, and then fielding a ground ball, just casual play, hurt his hamstring. And it looked worse than it ended up being. It's a grade one hamstring strain. So it looks like he'll only be out roughly 6 weeks, which is the hope, which means he'll be back by early to mid-May, which I think is a pretty great outcome given how much we were all holding our breath while it was happening. So
I,
collective exhale, but definitely, the Cubs are going to need to weather the storm for a bit here.
and it kind of the timing of it all kind of sucks too, because again, it's unrelated, but during spring training, there was already this kind of thing of, okay, he got hit with a ball. Is he injured already? He was fine. There was just some minor bruising. And now there's this injury that comes with his hamstring. And Jameson Tyone he's already out. Like we don't have another person, and now we don't have another person to kind of step up to the plate. I don't want to say we don't have another person to step up to the plate, because we do, but it's not at the level of Jameson Tyone or Steele. The next person up is Ben Brown, and he's nowhere near the level of Justin Steele.
Yeah, I mean, I think we were all happy when Brown was the guy who was called up. Obviously, we're hoping that he'll be the guy to draw the starts in Steele's place. Obviously, the Cubs will maneuver around the early season off days and try to, limit the exposure of him as much as they can. His first appearance wasn't great, bunch of earned runs in a couple innings, but he's a really talented guy. I think a lot of us are hoping and expecting that he'll get some starts. Hopefully not Drew Smiley if they can help it, but yeah, for right now, Ben Brown is an unfinished product. He is not Justin Steele. He is not Jameson Tyone yet. Hopefully in the long run he can be, but for right now, I think the Cubs have good starting pitching depth. It's just getting tested really, really hard early on.
And I think you could also make the argument that, you're not always going to have the safety net of somebody like Justin Steele or Jameson Tyone to kind of, or even people like Shota Imanaga. You're not going to always have those people in your roster. You might need somebody like Ben Brown to, that's why you have these people there. You need somebody to, no pun intended, step up to the plate or the pitcher's mound in this sense and kind of show their chops. There's a reason why they drafted this person. There's a reason that they put them through rigorous training. Now they kind of just have to kind of prove their worth.
Yeah, for sure. The Cubs will do well to get Ben Brown exposure against lesser teams. He may appear in this Rockies series out of the bullpen. They will probably do better to try and hold him off against the Los Angeles Dodgers, who are hitting everything in sight right now. They have the best lineup in baseball outside of the Braves. So, trying to do what they did for Shodi Managa, who started his first game at home against the Rockies, that'll be in their best interest. But yeah, I mean, it's just at the end of the day, you know that you're not going to make it through a whole 162 game schedule with just five guys in the rotation. It's just not going to happen. Obviously, you're hoping that it's not going to happen this early in the season where you have to dig into your reinforcements, but you just got to put faith in the guys that are going to go out there and hope that, someone answers the call.
Now, with Steele's injury, it kind of worries me, and I'd love to hear your kind of take on it. If what it's going to look like for him for the entirety of the season once he comes back, what's kind of the plan going to be once he comes back? Because once you're injured once, you can't just get right back on the horse. I mean, again, they want him back on the field as soon as possible, but you want to be safe about these things too. I mean, they're kind of Justin Steele's the ace in the hole, but you kind of have to treat this thing as safe as you can.
Yeah, it's a hamstring injury, which are notoriously fickle for a pitcher who, requires his lower body. So they're going to be careful. They're going to be cautious. It's early enough in the season where they don't need to rush him back. Again, if the mid-May sort of timeline is what they are going for, you could probably expect to see him in some rehab starts in early May, pitching off a mound maybe in late April. So if that's happening, I think all signs are good to go. He should be ramped up again by mid-May. If things are delayed or if there's a setback, if, it's still tight or something, they have to be cautious. That they're Justin Steele is the single most irreplaceable person on this roster right now, more than Cody Bellinger, more than Dansby Swanson. Justin Steele is he's the ace of the staff. He's the best pitcher the Cubs have. They cannot, risk, running him into the ground early on. So I say play it safe, weather the storm, use your prospects. Kate Horton is probably too early for him, but he's the big gun down on the farm system right now. Use what you can to make sure that, by the time Justin Steele comes back, things are still, the ship hasn't completely sunk.
And like we've been saying in past videos and in this one, we're only at the beginning of the season. We're only at the time of this recording, we're only 4 games in. It's I don't want to say like it's not that deep, but it's not that deep. We're nowhere near the World Series yet. It's gonna be okay, folks.